Howdy, my totally tubular sharkaholics, and here we are with the movie you've all wanted to see, Jaws. Yep, we're finally going to look at Jaws. 4 years of shark movies, over 100 shark scale episodes, and we're finally going to look at Jaws. We're going to look at the infamous movie, the movie that really started the whole shark genre. There wouldn't be no shark scale without this movie. So how is the movie nowadays, though? Has it aged well? Is it just totally trash nowadays? Is it still one of the greatest movies of all time? That's what we're here to find out. Let's get into it. I mean, when it comes to the plot of Jaws, you already know. Don't even act like you don't know. You already know the plot to Jaws, where it takes place on a peaceful island, basically, full of white people, clearly lots of white people, and it stars the chief of police, Brody. He was a cop in New York, however he moved to Amity Island for a much more peaceful work environment, and I mean, it's basically just beach town forever. It's the 4th of July, and they're getting ready for the tourist season when all of a sudden, basically, a big-ass shark shows up. Sure, there's some questioning at first, and the mayor playing sides, and even a guy who comes in who's a scientist to come investigate what's going on, but you already know what happens. They go out hunting for that big shark. Brody gets with a hunting expert, and then the shark guy comes with them, and they hunt down that son of a bitch. The plot of Jaws is not only legendary, inspirational, influential, it is really just everything every shark movie has ever tried to be. While it is not the oldest shark movie, I have looked at a movie that is older than Jaws, it is easily the most influential shark movie ever made. Every shark movie after this movie took something from Jaws. I mean, that's just the truth. Legit. Every single shark movie owes something to Jaws. There isn't one out there that doesn't. And yes, of course, some movies really just imitated Jaws, stealing scenes, stealing plot points, stealing general ideas. However, most of them did try to do something original. However, even those owe something to Jaws. I mean, Jaws was really a landmark spot in cinema. Like, there's before Jaws and after Jaws. Like, that's how much of a big deal it was. And when it comes to the plot, it applies to that as well. I mean, the plot is superb. It is incredible. It was expertly written. The pacing's great. The buildup of the shark is great. The characters are great. The dialogue is superb. It's become very iconic. There's tons of lines that would go on to be in just about every shark movie, where the shark has to be called the son of a bitch, or that we need a bigger boat, or something along those lines. Like, it is the definition of iconic. And who could forget the Jaws theme? It's one of the most iconic themes ever. All of the characters are great. Every scene with them is great. I mean, especially our main three. They are just all superb. And then, of course, there's Jaws himself, which is just, I mean, he's Jaws. There's a reason this movie is so well known and so legendary. It basically just doesn't get any better than this. Like, it really doesn't get much better than this, if it gets better than this at all. Every character's got great motivation, everything makes sense, it's believable, and I really just liked how the movie played out. The way that Jaws is built up is really something else. And you know, plot aside, which is fantastic, let's just talk about Jaws. Let's dive into Jaws.
I can go slow ahead. Come on down and chum some of this shit.
Jesus!
How is the shark in Jaws? To say that the shark in Jaws is phenomenal would kind of be an understatement. I know behind the scenes there's all this stuff about how the animatronic didn't work right and it was just moving left and right, but for a movie where they didn't get the animatronic working right, obviously they did some magic here, some Hollywood Steven Spielberg magic, because it is great. It's great. Yes, Jaws is not in the whole movie. He's not even in half the movie. He's built up most of the movie. However, I think it plays to the movie's strength. While some shark movies, you just keep waiting and waiting and waiting, and the payoff is just not worth it, and you just ended up feeling like you wasted your time, Jaws is not one of those movies. It is a movie where waiting for the killer shark to show up pays off. It's a movie where the shark is so hyped up throughout the entire movie that when the shark finally decides to show up and attack our main characters, is really impactful. It's great. And I really enjoyed it. It's truly fantastic. There's just never really been a movie that was able to sell the shark like how Jaws does. And this is coming from someone who has reviewed over 110 of these movies. There's just never really been another movie that could sell the shark like how they sell Jaws in this movie. It truly is just the definition of like once in a lifetime. I mean, they even tried to recreate it in the other Jaws movies, and I just don't think it comes even close to recreating the feeling and the magic that Jaws has in this first movie. And then for the time, I think Jaws looks great. I mean, he looks great. He looks real. There was something there. It was an animatronic that just, it really does. And one reason it looks so legit is the way that the actors can sell it. It looks phenomenal with them. They're able to sell it properly, and it's just really the hallmark of a great movie. If you can't appreciate how good Jaws looks, especially for the time, I really just can't trust you like that. Like, it looks great. It really does. And then when it comes to the kills in Jaws, oh, they're all legendary. They're legit all legendary and would set the standard for many shark movies to come. This and Jaws 2 really set the standard for every shark movie death like in the future. Every shark movie kill would be based off this in Jaws 2. But Jaws 1 really had a much more horror atmosphere around it where it was scary. It was terrifying. The shark just comes up and kills you. This wasn't straight like slasher like with Freddy Krueger or Jason or all those other ones. Like, this was legit super scary. It was terrifying, and I think all the kills are really well done. They're some of the best kills you'll ever find in any shark movie, hands down. They absolutely stand the test of time, and most shark kills that have been in movies in the last 10, 20, 30, 40 years don't even come close to what Jaws does for its kills. It's not even close. It's just phenomenal. And yeah, there isn't a ton of kills. There's only a handful. There's maybe 3 or 4. There's not all that many, but they're so impactful. Throughout the entire movie, they're felt. And again, that's just the way that our characters are able to sell it. It really just pushes that idea of this giant killer shark that is attacking everybody. And you know what? I've talked about our main characters a bunch, so let's go a little more in depth about them. How is the acting? Of course the acting's hella good. I mean, the acting is legit some of the best acting in cinema ever. There's no bad acting. Everyone's hella good. The emotion's real. The personalities are great. The dialogue is great. There's no one who's even close to just meh. It's all good. Everyone has purpose. Everyone makes sense. It's almost hard to describe how good the acting is. It's just imagine a cog being put into a machine and it just works perfectly. Only that's all the cogs. It's all great, and I can't even try to think of something negative to say about the acting of Jaws. What's there to say? It's just all great. I mean, I'll just be honest with you. That's really the way I would describe the movie is what is there to say negatively about Jaws? It's one of the most revered films in history, and it's considered by a majority of the world to be the best shark movie ever made. Do I think it's the best shark movie ever made? That's debatable. I have seen more than the average person, though, but I cannot deny its quality. And I cannot deny the impact that Jaws had on everything, let alone my life, because it really did have an impact. This series wouldn't be around without Jaws. I mean, that much is obvious. The plot is superb. It's expertly paced. You're never going to feel bored. It ends when you think it's going to end. It's not drawn out. It's just really well done. The acting, I can say pretty much the same thing. It's just really well done. And then Jaws himself is just one of the best monsters in any movie ever, and is easily the best shark you'll find in any shark movie. And in conclusion, there's just nothing negative to be said about this movie. I really love Jaws. It was the first shark movie I ever saw. I saw it as a kid, since the movie is PG somehow. And ever since then, I've been really fascinated with sharks. And I mean, all these stupid sci-fi and crazy indie movies later, here we are finally with Jaws. Here we are finally, all these years later. I got to watch it again after watching over 100 shark movies, and I can say, yeah, Jaws absolutely holds up as still probably the best shark movie ever made. There's a very good chance that it is the best shark movie ever made, and it's probably in my top 5 favorite movies ever made, along with the SpongeBob movie and The Matrix. Even in 2021, the movie absolutely holds up, and I'm sure it'll hold up for another 50 years because it's just that legendary and had that much of an impact. And I am kind of surprised that we're this far along and there hasn't been some kind of revival or remake of Jaws. I mean, it just seems inevitable, and I would be open to it, but I'm gonna just be real. It's probably not gonna be as good as this original one. I really don't think you'll be able to capture the magic twice. I mean, they couldn't even capture it twice in its own series. The other Jaws movies, while they're fine enough, especially the second one, which I think is pretty good, it just doesn't capture the magic of this one, and I don't think any movie ever will again. And this is one movie I can say that if you have not seen this movie, you're really missing out. Like, this is just one of the greatest movies ever made. Hands down, not even close. And that's Jaws. And it's pretty obvious what it gets on the shark scale. This thing is above the shark scale. It's just on the godly scale. And it gets a 6 out of 5 on the shark scale. The impossible to achieve, really legendary 6 out of 5. I can count on one hand how many other movies I would put that far on the shark scale, where it's just above the shark scale. It's not many. But it is Jaws, so of course it's gonna get that high on the scale. I mean, come on now. The shark scale was kind of made based off of Jaws. Of course it's gonna break it. But yeah, that's really all I gotta say about Jaws.
We're done with Jaws. We're done with the movie series everybody wanted to see. That's the end of this year's shark scale. I'll see you guys next year, because we never run out of movies, it seems. We're just never done. We're never done. Man, I just don't know if I want to do this anymore. Like, I don't know.
Hey, you that Geek Gamer 7 fella I've been looking on the internet, you know.
I heard a lot about you.
I heard you. Are you still doing the
that shark shit or something?
Yeah.
No. The shark scale, guys. You see, it just never ends. I'm never out of shark movies. Like, I just never run out of these fucking movies.
Man, that's all bullshit, man. You should fucking, like, I don't know, go outside for a bit.
Yeah.
You've been looking at too
Touch
many
some
shark
grass
movies as of
and
late,
shit.
you know?
You know, that might be a good idea. Maybe I should get outside, but
Yeah, no shit.
I don't know. There's more movies to look at. Like,
No. You're coming with us, man. We're gonna go do some stuff real quick.
Yeah, you're coming with us. Let's fucking go. Let's fucking get the fuck out of here.